The first thing Emily noticed was the little boy in the photograph. Not Sheriff Reed, not the pale woman standing beside him, not even the other children lined up in front of the old farmhouse. It was the boy. He couldn't have been older than 8. Thin, dirty blonde hair, hollow eyes, and around his neck, hanging from a frayed string, was the silver St. Christopher medal, the same medal Noah had been wearing the day he disappeared. Emily's fingers went numb. The photograph slipped from her hand and landed face up on the floorboards with a soft slap. For a second, the room around her vanished. The shattered glass, the overturned chairs, the flicker of red and blue police lights pouring through the farmhouse windows, the storm screaming outside. It all disappeared. There was only the photograph, and the impossible truth staring back at her. Noah had been here. Her son hadn't simply vanished, he had been taken, and he had been standing in this very house beside the man everyone in town trusted most. "Mom?" Lily's voice broke through the shock. Emily looked up. Her daughter stood wrapped in a blanket, pale and trembling, her blue eyes swollen from tears. Beside her, Ava clutched the yellow raincoat with both fists, as if letting go would make everything happen again. Deputies stormed through the front door behind them, weapons raised. "Sheriff's down!" one of them shouted. Another deputy rushed toward the pale woman sprawled near the old stove, unconscious, blood streaked across her forehead. "Clear the house!" Emily barely heard them. She grabbed the photograph and held it up with shaking hands. "This boy," she said, her voice cracking, "this boy is my son." The nearest deputy froze. A young woman with tired eyes and snow melting on her shoulders stepped closer. Her badge read Deputy Mara Keller. She stared at the photo, then at Emily, then back at the boy. "Are you sure?" Emily's entire body trembled. "I'm his mother!" Silence fell around them. Even the deputies seemed to stop moving. Mara swallowed hard. "Get EMS in here now," she shouted to the others, "and call state police. Nobody leaves this property. Nobody." Emily held Lily close with one arm and Ava with the other as paramedics rushed in, wrapping blankets around the girls, checking pupils, shining lights into frightened eyes. The pale woman was dragged away in handcuffs, still half-conscious, still smiling. That smile, it chilled Emily more than the storm ever could. As they led her past the doorway, the woman turned her head slowly and looked directly at Lily. Then she whispered, almost lovingly, "I told you your mother would come." Emily lunged toward her. It took 2 deputies to hold her back. "What did you do to my son?" Emily screamed. The woman only smiled wider, and then she said the words that would haunt Emily for the rest of her life. "Ask the barn." By dawn, the farmhouse had become a crime scene. Floodlights lit the snow-covered yard in harsh white beams. State troopers, detectives, forensics teams, and canine units moved through the property like shadows. Emily sat in the back of an ambulance with a thermal blanket around her shoulders, while Lily slept against her chest. Ava sat beside them, her small hand wrapped tightly around Emily's fingers. She refused to let go. Deputy Mara stood outside the ambulance door holding the photograph in a sealed evidence bag. "I need you to tell me everything," she said softly. Emily nodded, exhausted. So she did. She told her about Noah disappearing 8 years ago, how the case had gone cold, how Sheriff Reed stood in her kitchen and promised he'd never stop looking, how he attended Noah's memorial, how he hugged her when she cried, how he lied to her face for years. Mara's jaw tightened with every word. When Emily finished, Mara looked back toward the house. "My father worked with Reed for 22 years, she said quietly. "I grew up around him." Emily looked at her. "You didn't know?" Mara's eyes filled, but she didn't let the tears fall. "No," she said, "but I think he knew exactly how to make sure nobody else would know either." A deputy approached, face pale. "Mara," he said, voice low, "you need to come now." Something in his tone made Emily's stomach drop. "What is it?" The deputy hesitated. Then he looked at Emily. "We found the barn." The barn stood 50 yards behind the farmhouse, half collapsed and buried in snowdrifts. Its doors were chained from the outside. The wood was rotting, the roof sagged like it was tired of holding secrets. Emily should have stayed in the ambulance. Everyone told her to stay. But when they cut the chain and pulled the doors open and the cold, dark inside yawned like a mouth, she was already walking toward it. Mara tried to stop her. "Emily, don't." But Emily had spent 8 years living inside don't. Don't hope, don't ask, don't imagine, don't believe. She was done listening. The inside smelled of wet hay, rust, and something older, something that should have stayed buried. Flashlights cut through the dark. And then Emily saw them. Tiny shoes, children's shoes, dozens of them lined neatly along one wall like trophies. Boots, sneakers, little red rain boots, mud-stained sandals, tiny church shoes. Some still had laces tied. Emily couldn't breathe. Her knees nearly gave out. Then Mara's flashlight stopped on a rusted metal locker shoved against the far wall. A canine began barking violently, the kind of bark that says truth is near. The locker door was pried open. Inside were boxes, and inside those boxes, names, photos, birth certificates, missing persons flyers from 3 different states. Emily's fingers shook as she dug through them. Illinois, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and then Noah Carter. A school photo, gap-toothed grin, blue hoodie, age 8. Emily made a sound that barely sounded human. She dropped to the dirt floor, clutching the photo to her chest. "Noah, baby," she whispered. Mara crouched beside her. "We found another ledger, too," she said. Emily looked up. A black notebook. Every page was filled in Sheriff Reed's handwriting. Dates, names, pickup locations, transfer notes, payments. Like children were inventory, like their lives had a price. Emily's eyes blurred. "What does it say about Noah?" Mara turned pages carefully, then stopped. Her face changed, the color drained from it. "What?" whispered Emily. Mara didn't answer immediately. She looked toward the detective, then back at Emily. "It says, Noah transferred, Winter Hollow Mine, March 14th. The world tilted. Transferred. Not dead, not buried. Transferred. Emily grabbed Mara's coat. "Where is that?" Mara's voice shook. "An abandoned coal mine 12 miles north. It shut down years ago." Emily was already standing. "Take me." The convoy tore through the snow like a war machine. State trooper SUVs, county units, ambulances, search trucks, sirens slicing the early morning silence. Emily sat in the front passenger seat of Mara's cruiser, clutching Lily's blanket in one hand and Noah's school photo in the other. Lily and Ava were taken to the hospital with protection, safe for now. Emily stared out at the endless forest racing past. Every mile felt like a lifetime. "What if we're too late?" she whispered. Mara kept both hands on the wheel. "We're not." "You don't know that." "No," she said, "but I know monsters get sloppy when they think they've already won." The mine entrance appeared like a scar in the mountain, a wide black opening surrounded by chain-link fencing and faded warning signs. Danger, unstable shafts, no entry. Snow drifted across the broken ground. Several fresh tire tracks cut through it. Emily saw them before anyone else. "There," she said. Mara's face hardened. He had help. The police vehicles stopped. Doors flew open. Commands rang out. "Perimeter! Canines up! Check the generators!" "What generators?" Emily asked. Mara pointed. Hidden behind a rusted equipment shed were 2 portable industrial generators still humming. Someone was running power into the mine. Someone was still inside. Emily's blood ran cold. This wasn't an old crime scene. This was active. This was now. Mara turned to Emily. "You stay behind us." Emily didn't answer, because they both knew she wouldn't. The mine swallowed light. Headlamps bounced across jagged rock walls. Water dripped somewhere deep in the dark. Old support beams groaned overhead. The tunnel split twice, then again. Whoever had built this hiding place knew exactly how to disappear. On the walls, someone had painted arrows in faded white. Not random. Guides, routes, a system. Reed had built a pipeline in the dark. Mara held up a hand. Everyone stopped. A sound echoed from deeper inside, metal clanging. Then, a child crying. Emily ran. "Emily!" shouted Mara, but there was no stopping her now. She tore through the tunnel, boots splashing through icy water, breath ragged, heart trying to tear out of her chest. Then the tunnel opened into a massive underground chamber, and Emily stopped dead. There were cages, not animal cages, human cages, 6 of them, 3 empty, 2 broken open, 1 still locked. Inside was a huddled beneath a filthy blanket, a teenage boy with dirty blonde hair, sunken cheeks, and terrified gray-blue eyes. Around his neck, hung from a silver St. Christopher